Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Lolita Haze, the vintage starlet, although I know right now I'm looking a little bit more like Lolita Haze, the vintage dumpster fire. I wanted to do a little bit of vintage, slightly pin-up makeup today, just a very subtle, pretty look again. This time I am using some products from BH Cosmetics. I will be using 4 of their products today, starting with the BH Liquid Foundation, Naturally Flawless. I'll be wearing their liquid lipstick. I'll be using their classic blush palette. And lastly, the item that started my order, which I'll get into more later, the Sylvia Gani? Gani? I don't know collaborators. The Sylvia Gani eyeshadow palette. I originally placed this order because I saw Tati do a look using this Sylvia Gani palette. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. And what I really liked about it was the swatches she did. The first 2 rows, but also including the 3rd row, had a very vintagey, springtime, summery look to me. These are colors I don't normally wear, don't normally have in my palette, but they just look so pretty together with the reds and the golds and the oranges and the tans that I thought, why not? So I took a look at their website. I saw that the palette was affordable. Can't remember if this was on sale or not. I think it was on sale. It wasn't too bad. It was only like $24, so it wasn't terrible. But I think I picked up some of these other things because they were on sale. So without further ado, let's take care of this ugly and try to make it somewhat pretty. We'll do it today. So first thing, I'm going to use the foundation. I have mine in 201 Ivory. Now I have been using this and I have been applying it with a brush. However, it comes on very streaky with a brush, so today I'm going to try it with a sponge applicator. See if that doesn't help even out the coverage, because what I've been doing is once I've applied it with the brush, I've been using my fingers and hands to kind of smooth out and take out that streakiness. This is going to be a full coverage. It is very thick. And I am using my camera viewfinder screen, whatever you want to call it, as my mirror, so things may or may not be perfect in the application. Now I didn't use any primer with this. I found that the primer I have, which is that e.l.f. primer, it would sludge off. It kind of, I don't know if it was the primer that was doing it or the reaction with the primer, but it would just like melt off. So I'm skipping the foundation. I do have my face washed, moisturized, and all that good stuff. Now I don't have any concealer, so I just like to build up to cover. Now this foundation does say Naturally Flawless, so it does give a dewish kind of look. It's not going to be a matte, it's not going to be a soft powder. It's going to have a little bit of dewiness to it, so I'm going to go ahead and powder that down, put my eyebrows on, and then we can continue. Since I'm ready for spring, hence why I got that eyeshadow palette, I think I want to do like a soft rosy cheek. Now I have used one of these blushes before and it seemed quite pigmented. It seemed quite pigmented. We're going with that. So I'm just going to, yes, this is terrible. Can you see? That really, a little bit does really go on. Which I'm okay, because I do like the rosy cheese. I like rosy cheese. I like the rosy cheek look. Now for me, I don't pull it into the hollows of my cheek. I pull it up higher. And I also actually like to bring it up a little bit into the temple. Just slightly, not a lot. It's not for contouring or anything, because I try to stay away from that. I just feel like with my face shape, that it just helps lift everything a little bit higher so I'm not so droopy in the cheeks. So now let's get on to the eyeshadow. I have not tried this yet, so I'm very excited to see how well this works. I want to go for like a springy color, so I'm going to kind of stay up here, maybe go a little bit into these colors. I think for the most part, I kind of want to stay light and fresh and springy. I know it's not spring yet, but I really want it to be. So I'm going to start out by going into Wolf here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this all over my eyes just to give a base for the lid. So I think the next color I'm going to do is going to be Rose. Now this is a shimmer or metallic, I don't know what they call it. Shimmer or metallic, it's sparkly. There were shimmery eyeshadows back in the 40s. It wasn't all mattes. Now the way we're applying it is a little bit different. We're doing it more in a modern sense. So I'm going to use a wider, flatter brush, and I'm going to just buff out that crease a little bit and over my entire eyelid. I am going to go up. I guess people would call this a transition color. I don't know. Put it all over my eyelid. Just keep it light. I don't want it so dark that my eyes scream pink eyeshadow. Pink sparkly eyeshadow. So I'm just going to take my time, swirl and buff, give myself some blushy color. Now I'm going to take a flatter brush, gently pull that down under the eye very, very slightly. Now it does look like there is some fallout, and there's definitely kick on the nose from when the bristles flutter, but I'll go ahead and take care of that in just a second. Use my big brush from earlier and just gently brush that away. All fixed. Now as I said, I wanted to add some orange into this. I think orange is still pretty good because it's still winter, and I tend to go with more oranges than pinks in the winter. And I'm going to just get that outside and in the crease. I'm holding the brush very close to the end, and that's just going to get the eyeshadow on my eyelid. And then once I feel comfortable with the amount I have on, I then move it to the end so that I can lightly just buff that out. Now because I do have hooded eyes and this part of my eye does droop down a little bit, I tend to like to go just a little bit over on top of it. See how that works? So I don't lose all the eyeshadow. And I'll just gently fade that out towards the brow bone. It almost looks like I know what I'm doing, huh? And just out of habit, what I like to do is just go over and lightly brush off any loosies. And I think that's it for today. I'm not gonna go with too much because the 40s really didn't have multicolored eye looks. You know, it's like one or two, very specific, very light. This is more of a vintage inspired modern pinup shadow. I am gonna go ahead and finish up with my eyes with eyeliner and mascara, and then we'll come back and finalize it with the lip product. Now I did pick up 2 shades of red in the sale. I have the darker Glory as well as the lighter, more orange toned Charlotte. I think this is the one I'm going to use for today to keep in line with the orange tones that are in my eyeshadow. So here is the final look. This is my very simple, very easy, very soft, very pretty, very fresh, very springy, I really want springtime to come, makeup look. To get a very vintage look, you really want to do minimal makeup or the illusion of minimal makeup. That'll give you more of an authentic look. So I'm still trying to figure out if I like or dislike this foundation. From my trials in the past, it seems like as it goes on, it wants to separate from my skin, and you can kind of see like the texture and everything, and it's almost like if you just did that, like all that foundation comes off as well. So I'm trying different mixes and matches with my primer and like the moisturizer I use in the morning and this and that to see if I can't find a good combination, because I do like the coverage. It starts out looking very well. It's just as it goes on throughout the day, it seems to want to like soak up any powder that I put on top and like fall into the texture, and it's not pretty after a while, so still gotta play with it. Now the blush I really like. This is only the second color I've chosen. Now the blush palette is a nice mix of that vintage aesthetic, that softness, that slight earthiness with femininity colors. There's nothing too bold and too bright, because I know that actual vintage blush is very extreme, like the corals and the raspberries. Those are really bright, but this is just that essence of vintage color palette, and I really enjoy that. I'm really excited to try the darker glory, see how that looks on me. I tend to buy my lipsticks in twos, sometimes more, but usually it's twos. Usually it's a dark red for shows, nights, evening goth, and a light red for daytime vintage pinup looks. The product that started it all, I am actually looking forward to diving into this palette. Like I said, there are so many beautiful colors here. Now these are like highlighters over here, but I'm really looking forward to playing around with these very muted, natural, beigey colors to continue on with that pinup vintage aesthetic. Can I say pinup or vintage anymore? Yes. So yeah, if you want to see more, please subscribe by clicking that button below and ringing that bell so you're notified of my future videos when they come out. And please, once again, like this, thumbs this up, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Real quick side note, funny story about this. When I first opened it, I went to pull off the lid, but apparently I pulled off this part as well. And so I stupidly thought for the first few times using it that they had some kind of like stick applicator, and I could not figure out why anybody in the world would create a foundation bottle that had like a dipstick as the way to apply the foundation. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder if I accidentally pulled off the pump, because it almost looks like a pump. And sure enough, I pulled off a little bit lighter and bam, a pump.